Okay, hello everyone. Welcome back. Okay, so in this video, we're going to be talking about branding the PowerShell app deployment toolkit. The first two videos we covered the download process and where to get it. And the second video, we talked about the template. And now we're just going to expand upon templating, right? So we want to brand our template so that our logo and we kind of just want to put a little bit of custom into the actual PDT as we're installing applications for our users. So, without any further ado, let me make this video very short. So basically, if you remember from the last video, we created the PDT 3.8.0 directory on our desktop. We're going to go back into that, and we're going to take a look at some of these directories now. Well, at least the one directory. So if you remember from the previous videos, I said the app deploy toolkit directory is very important. It has all the functionality in it. Well, that holds true for the branding of the PDT template that you created. So you're going to have some user interface with dialog boxes, and those dialog boxes, you want to have those branded, or you may want to have those branded for you with your company logo or whatever. So PDT gives you the ability to do that. So the file that you use to do that is a simple PNG, right? So if we open this file, you'll see that this is a basic PNG file which says PowerShell App Deployment Toolkit. So what we want to do is we want to rename this to old, right? So let's do an underscore or a dot, and then we'll call that old. Okay, and when we rename it, it just asks us if we're sure we want to do that, and we do. So now I have my logo, and I have that logo I've already downloaded, I've created it. The best scenario for your logo as far as size pixel should be 450 by 50, right? So you want it to be 450 in length and 50 high, right, in pixels. So my logo it's a little stretched because I just did this real quick, but the logo I use for my corporate environment is perfect, right? But this is for my personal, this is part of my personal company, and I just want to get this out there, and you'll see it'll be a little stretched. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to copy it, copy the file. It's a PNG. I'm going to put that file here, and then I'm going to go up here, and I'm just going to do a rename. Now, all I'm doing here is just taking the name, so I don't have to type it out. I never was a great keyboarder, and I still ain't. So, and then I'm going to rename this to that. Do a refresh. Okay, so now let's test it, right? So let's test it out. We're going to open it up. Now, I've pre-prepared this template so that I don't have to keep switching back and forth and get you guys all confused if you're watching. Okay, so what we're going to do here is we're going to be doing a specific, just an install, right, to test the logo. That's all I'm doing here now. So we put the logo in, and we named it correctly, and it's in our template directory to 3.8.0. And so I want to test it in my install, right? I want to test it in my PDT template, excuse me. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the install process to do that. So what I've done here is, if you look where the validate set is, it gives you two options. And we talked, I think, briefly about this in the other two videos, maybe not the install and uninstall, but it's basically the same as what we talked about. I know we talked about briefly with the interactive, silent, and non-interactive, right? So in the validate set, this is your options. These are the options you have for the PDT. So you either have an install, uninstall, right? So the deployment type that we're going to be using is install. If we wanted to test an uninstall, we simply type uninstall in there. And then the valid set, we talked about interactive. So if the user is going to interact, this is how they would do it. And we're going to be branding those dialog boxes that the users will be using to interact. So interactive and install. Okay. So also we talked about the variables and the application and how that works. When we test this, you'll see what I've actually done here and how it all works, right? So the app vendor, I'm going to say, is Vortec. That's me. The logo is the app name because we're just testing it. It's no big deal. The app version, I just made it 1.1.0, and we could put in a date here. So today is 12/12. Let's say 12/12/2019, and we'll do a save here, and then we'll go on down to our areas, right? So this is your install area. Remember I told you there are two areas, right? This is the uninstall, and that's what this controls up here is the area you're working in, right? So the uninstall and install, that controls these areas, right? So we want to do an install. We're going to work in this area, pre-installation, installation, and post-installation. We'll leave the uninstalls for a later thing. So here's the thing. So what I've done is I've created a basic if statement here and a variable. So when the users interact, you want to give them, you want them sometimes to answer a question. Do you want to install this application? Yeah. No, I don't want to install it. I made a mistake. I don't want to do it now. Okay, so how do you do that? Well, you're going to create your variable. We'll call this one, and you can call anything you want. I put user RSP, which is user response. Then that's going to be equal to showing the installation prompt. That installation prompt, okay, that is not a PowerShell command. That is a PDT PowerShell command. You will not find that. If you try to run that in PowerShell, it will not work. Sorry, my phone just went off. Okay, so anyway, you won't find that in PowerShell itself, right? So, and if you remember, also execute process, you're not going to find that. So where are you going to find those? Well, you're going to find those in here, right? So where's execute process? Okay, if you go into the documentation, here's execute process. It gives you a load of information and then a bunch of examples, right? Same thing with the show, right? So all the show stuff, right? Show installation prompt takes you right to it. I always use the navigation bar to the left in Word. It's so great. You know, literally, you can go through this stuff as you become more familiar with PDT. So anyway, what I've done here is, like I said, I've created a variable for the user response. I say, hey, show this, and I want this message to be in there and ask the user this specific question. It's going to be 2 lines, which is designated by the ticks in the 2 ends, and then I'm going to have 2 buttons, a yes and a no. That's all I need here is this 1 line to create a dialog box. PDT does the rest of the stuff for you. Can you go into the tool and actually change the size and all that? Watch and see. You won't need to do that, right? You can if you want to tinker, but I don't see any reason. I've never had a reason to do that. Okay, so if the user response, if that variable is equal to no, then I want you to execute this process, which is bogus.exe. Basically, I'm going to end the script. I'm saying I want you to execute a process and go to see bogus.exe, which doesn't exist. That's why I call it bogus. And what that'll do is give me some red lettering, and it will give me a log. So I don't even have to write a log. I already know what my log is, right? So that's what my log is, and you'll see as I move forward. Now, if the user replies yes, and it's not equal to no, then they're going to move on to the next line of code, which is simply show installation progress, which is just going to be a box that pops up and says, hey, update in progress, please be patient. Now, this show installation process bar, this box will stay initiated until the end of the script. So it will run and it will run and it'll show the task running until the end of the script. So it'll also shut down as soon as the script is done. So without any EXEs or any type of installations going on, I put start sleep in there, which is the basic PowerShell command. And yes, PDT does take all basic PowerShell commands work in PDT. It's just they have their own that do other things. So the start sleep 5 seconds. So you're going to see the show installation progress for 5 seconds, and then I'm going to give you, and then it's going to pop up with an installation welcome. If you have an app that's open, for example, that will be in there. Right now, that's not going to be in there. I put that in there as a check, so don't worry about that line. And then at the end, once the 5 seconds is over and it's ready to end, it'll say the show dialog box. We'll show you a box that says, hey, the installation is complete. Click OK. So let's just run through this and you'll have a better idea. So I don't want to waste too much more time, right? So, okay, we put the logo in, we changed the name, everything. So for my logo, so when this pops up, when you get the dialog box, you should see my logo. So let's see if I'm correct here. So we're going to run a basic, there you go, WorkTech Consulting. There it is. Okay, notice here, WorkTech logo 1.1, where did we see that? Okay, right here. That's it. That's what that does. Okay, so let's click no. Let's click no for now. This icon here, we'll get to that in a few minutes. Let's click no. So I told you, we'll create a log. Why does it create a log? Well, I tell it to go out and look for a specific file. It says it's not found. So I can grab, I know that that's run. How do I know that that's run? Oh, okay, let's go look at the logs. So if you go into Windows, Logs, Software, let's see, here it is. What time did we run it? At 2:04, there's my log. There's my log. Now, if you have a good log viewer, it divides everything up. I haven't put a log viewer on this machine, so it's just a text file, log file right now, so I'm reading it in text. Okay, so let's shrink that down. Let's run this again. Let's clear it out. Let's clear the session a little bit, and let's run it and then run yes this time. Okay, so you are testing the logo. Where did we see that? Okay, I put that in. It's right here. Do you want to continue? Yes, I do. Click yes. There's my logo again. Give it 5 seconds. You should get a dialog box. Installation complete. Okay. It runs through the rest of the process. It's done. Okay. So let's clear that and let's quickly redo the icon. Okay. So there's the icon, right? Looks familiar. Let's change this. Rename this .old. Okay. And then I'm going to go back into, oh, can't do that. Okay. It's holding the session. So let's close PowerShell. Now let's rename it. _old. And now let's go into my logo folder. And I'm going to use a Microsoft official Microsoft Software Center icon, right? Because I use Software Center at work, and it's really a nice icon, and it works well with your Software Center. So I'm basically going to copy this file into here, do the exact same thing we did with the logo. And then I'm going to go here, exact same thing. I'm going to rename this just to get the copy. And then I'm going to go here and do a rename. This. Okay. Just do a refresh. I'm habitual with the refreshes. Okay, so now when I run this, let's run my process again. Okay, let's run it again. So file, we're going to open it back up. My template. Go back in it, same template, same exact thing. And this time when we run it, that icon will be different. The little icon up in the corner there should be a Software Center icon. Right, there you go, Software Center icon. So this looks a lot more professional and branded when you're working inside of a corporate environment, and it's pretty cool. So you know, it's not a big deal. You don't have to do it, but it kind of looks good, right? So especially if you're running a Software Center, it looks like it's part of Software Center. And click OK. And that's about all. That's basically how you do how you brand your. Now, what you can do, what you should do, is once you're finished, let's go back in here and kill this stuff. You don't need it in there because this is, remember, it's your template. We tested on our template. So let's kill it here. All right. Whoops, what did I do? Yeah, there you go. Get rid of that. Okay. Oh no, but my goodness, I'm just sorry. Sorry, folks. I think I deleted a string. Yeah, don't delete your string. See that string there? Make sure that string has to be there. That string gets there, it could drive the Toolkit crazy. So get rid of this, get rid of this. Just ensure that you leave the strings in there. Sorry about that. And you hold you all up. And you get rid of this. And then let's not forget what we did up here. Because again, this is our template, so we don't want to leave stuff in here that we'll forget about later if we don't check. We're going to leave the install and uninstall alone, and I will do a save again, and our template is back to normal, except for the fact that we've branded it with our logo and our Software Center icon. And that's about all. Thanks for watching.